Well, hello, General Hospital Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Wednesday, February 7th, 2024. Wednesday, February the 7th. Well, I tell you, it was Spencer's service today, his memorial service, and they had it graveside, even though his body wasn't there. They didn't have it at the church. But anyway, um, I guess I can't complain. um they had it to where as people were putting their roses down on the patch of ground, that Alexis was doing the eulogy, and she did a phenomenal job. Alexis was excellent at the overview, and I tell you, when Cameron came and kneeled, I said, Cameron Weber is in the house. What a handsome young man, I tell you. And he is growing into a very handsome young man. It was so good that they brought him back for this, and they should have. He and Spencer go way, way back. So I'm happy to see that it was. So pretty much Cameron went over to Trina and Jocelyn, and he hugged Trina, and and he's crying too because Spencer was his boy. They argued as kids, but as they got older, Spencer felt he had to fight all Cameron's battles when Cameron's not even a fighter, you know. So then Jocelyn looked at him and says, "Can I get one of those?" And he said, "Sure." So he hugged her too. A little allergies here in my eyes. So he hugged her too, and they had a tender moment, and everybody, gave their little condolences. And Sonny's there, and Cyrus is there, but he makes sure he didn't cause a ruckus. He goes and stands over to the side, which that's his nephew. He should be there. And I'm sorry, where was Martin? Where was Martin? Because Martin wasn't there. And that is Martin's nephew as well. And Martin should be there to support Laura, his sister. So anyway, Trina decides she's not going to go to Windamere. Ava opened up Windamere for the repass. Um, and Sonny went over there for his nephew. And Cam, Jocelyn, Trina, she just was not up to it. And as a matter of fact, she went home telling her parents that nothing matters anymore. Because this the company, or the institute that she was going for her scholarship, or was, they sent her a letter saying that they would hold her over or delay her starting till the next semester. And so they were like, "Well, that's good, Trina, honey." And she goes, "I'm never going back to Paris again." And so Portia said, "Okay, well, that's okay. You don't have to go back to Paris, because look, PCH, PCU has great programs. I'm sure you'll find something else." She goes, "I'm not going to PCU either. Nothing matters now that Spencer's gone. Nothing. He died trying to save me." And they're like, "Trina, you're grieving. Don't make life altering decisions, during your grief." And so, they try to comfort her, and she goes to her room. And then later she goes out. She just wants to take a walk by the lake. And so she puts her trench coat on, and she puts her hand in her pocket, and it's the turtle dove. I'm telling you, that's once we see that turtle dove 4 months from now on that island or wherever shore it's at, we know Spencer's going to be coming back, right? So, Gregory has an incident, where he hard of breathing, but this time it was worse. And Finn was like, "Okay, what is happening?" He's trying to calm his father down. He goes, "Let me call 911." He goes, "No, no, 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 just talk to me." And he's trying to catch his breath. And he goes, "Just distract me but with a story." So Finn just starts talking about brownies that he had Aiden make, and let Violet take him to school. My, my Yorkies just causing a ruckus, my male. Um, he let Violet take him to school, and now everybody in the class always wants his brownies when they were Aiden's brownies. So anyway, Gregory had a chance to calm down. So he calmed his little nerves down. And Finn is like, how long has this been happening? He says, this is the second time. He goes, and you kept it from me? He goes, son, I didn't keep anything from you. You were going through a lot these past few months just so that you could continue to save people. I the first time just pretty much happened. And Tracy was there to distract me. She made me angry, and that was enough to distract me. He says, Finn, there's nothing you can do. And he goes, but I mean, perhaps I could, there's some kind of treatment, something to make you. He says, Finn, you want to save me. And you know there is no cure for this disease. There is no saving me. So they had a good talk because it's hard. Come on now. My whole thing is let's get you to the hospital. Let's see, is this, what is this? Yes, we know you have this disease, but this could be something unrelated anyway. He didn't go to the hospital. But hopefully the specialist that Gregory is seeing is going to come up with something different. Michael was getting the kids off to school and he forgot Wiley's workbook and he's feeding Amelia and food on his shirt and almost look like a little vomit on his shirt, but she's too big for that. And Willow came home after her shift and she changes and they're talking and he tells them about Drew. She goes, seems like you trying to stall from going into work. He goes, well, I'm in no hurry. And she goes, you and Drew still having problems? And he said, well, not so much problems, but then he told her about what Drew wanted, how Drew wanted him to go in on the revenge with Nina. And he said, she looked at him, he goes, I turned him down, Willow. I am determined that my family comes first. I'm not going to no revenge. I'm focused on you and this family. So she goes, well, thank you for telling me, because he didn't even have to tell her about what Drew's doing, and thank you for not having a part in it. So he heads off to work. She goes, but you know what? There are some fences you need to mend. And one of those fences, Michael, is your father. See, watch. As Michael and Sonny try to mend fences, it's going to come out about Michael putting Dex in as a plant. We already know that's coming. That's going to happen. That's going to be another source of contention between them. And I do believe pretty much that was it, because at Windamere, Joss and Cam, Ava had a album book of all Spencer. She found it in one of the cabinets. So she had it out, and people were looking at the pictures, and Joss and Cam were looking at the pictures, and she put her head on his shoulder. And then he asked about Dex and how are you two? And she goes, we're fine. We're doing really good. So he goes, Jocelyn, I only want you to be happy. So she's like, she knows. So Cyrus, of course, shows up. And Ava didn't want to let him in. And he goes, I'm just here to comfort my dear sister. That's it. And Laura had walked out into the foyer, or foyer, however you pronounce it. And she looked at Ava and she goes, it's up to you, Laura. And Laura goes, so Ava's like, oh. So she goes into the living room area, and you can close those doors. She closed the door so people couldn't see Cyrus was there. And Laura talks to Cyrus, and he's saying, look, you're my sister. What he always says, I'm here to support you in our time of grief, Laura. And she goes, I wasn't expect that hostility from Ava. Now, mind you, he had Ava kidnapped, right? And she goes, why not, Cyrus? She goes, you've done a lot of horrible things to a lot of people. And you seem to feel that people shouldn't remember any of that. Well, they do, Cyrus. They do. And he goes, well, it's not my intent. So anyway, he gives his words of comfort, and he says something to her, and she just looks at him. He goes, when will you believe me that I just care for you? I'm your brother, and I care about you. Maybe one day you'll really believe it. And so she just looks at him as he walks out the door. Now, I didn't talk about Heather shows up. They let her out to go to Esme's graveside, which I was surprised. And oh, she's falling on the dirt, falling on the grave. Esme, 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 you know. And then she lets Kevin have it that, he had to bring his brother back to nurse him back to health or back from insanity. And, she always wanted to protect her daughter from his brother. She goes, but you're responsible for all of this, whatever. And Elizabeth's like, he's not responsible for his brother's actions. And Elizabeth came over and she said, I'm so sorry, Heather, for your loss. And I know you probably don't want to hear this from me. And, because I helped Nicholas keep Esme captive. And she goes, no, Nicholas was probably going to kill my daughter after she had her baby. She goes, it's because of you. Esme's alive and had a fat fighting chance. No, you went to the police and confessed what happened. She says, Elizabeth, you have a kind heart. And I know why my Franco loved you. It's funny. It's hard for me to think of this Heather, this actress playing Heather, as Franco's mother. The other Heather, the original Heather, because it was Franco, you picture her or you see her as Franco's mother. I see this actress as Esme's mother. I really do. So anyway, she spouted off at Kevin and blah, blah, blah. You didn't even keep your niece safe. And what's going to happen to my grandson? And he goes, Laura will take care of her grandchild and we will take care of him. And she looked at Kevin. She goes, you couldn't, like, you took care of your niece. And so she looked at Elizabeth. She goes, keep an eye on them. Keep an eye on my grandson. So the guard ends up carting her back, even after she gives her one more chance to fall on the graveside and kiss the Esme's name on that little pole standing up there. Esme, Esme. So anyway, that was about it for today's episode. Let's go to comment corner. Comment corner. We have Yolanda. Yolanda said, Tracy has been infected by the power of good in Gregory. It's wonderful that she told him the deep effect he has on her. The moment felt so good to me too. Yeah, Gregory has no expiration date. Let him leave with Tracy to Amsterdam after Chase and Brooklyn's wedding. If producers and the actors have an Alexis romance in the plan, he could return um, like so many other characters. Nah, I think they're going to find a cure for him. P. Merle says, Martin is not particularly enamored with Nick. Remember, he manipulated Martin to find his mother when Carly and Jason, that's right, were holding her to try to control Cyrus. I just wonder if he'll be Nick's attorney. Nick needs Diane or some other shark. Diane's on retainer for Sunny. She could take other cases, but I don't know if she'll take Nicholas's case. Denzel says today's episode was a sad episode and rushed episode of Spencer's funeral. It should have been in a church funeral. That's what I was saying. But I can understand both New Jaggard and Robert want Sonny to be put behind bars and all, but they should focus on other criminals in Port Charles. Well, that kind of skipped around. Sonny ain't the only mob boss criminal. It's others out there too. I was so mad with Jaggard when he arrested both Jordan and Anna for no reason, but I'm glad Anna took the PCPD job back. The new Jaggard needs to go ASAP. Yolanda says, I'm so excited to see Anna take the badge again. Let's solve some cases. Watch, now that Anna's back as the commissioner, she and Sonny are gonna have to distance themselves, right, from each other. Lucy says, I sure hope So wait, I sure hope the who is the shooter story plot does not continue to drag on. Linda says, I like Gregory and Tracy because Tracy is lonely and needs a companion, a love interest. Chemistry is spot on. Yes, but his chemistry is spot on with Alexis as well. He has chemistry with both of them. DB says, and nobody can take care of him like Tracy. Alexis is has too much going on trying to figure out who will be the mother of her next grandchild. Yolanda says, Gregory and Tracy feel right. They have culture and intelligence. So does Alexis, right? Both know the world they live in, but have different perspectives to give much to talk about in cozy settings where he doesn't have to stain himself or strain himself. And she doesn't have to wait, and she doesn't have to hesitate to be open and transparent. They need each other. Yeah, but that statement could apply to Alexis as well. And she and Gregory have the world to talk about and quite a whole lot. Dacia says Brick sitting there feeling Sunny's head full of lies about Dex. I don't trust Brick. I've always trusted Brick. I don't like Brick. There's something about him. I don't trust him. Let's see. P. Merle says Brick would never hurt Sonny. That's right. He never trusted Dex from the beginning. He sure didn't. And he was right. Hello. That's right. Carly persuaded Michael and Dex to change their plans. I just hope the shooter is not Jason. Jason turning against Sonny would break my heart. And DB says, wonder why Brick hasn't never steered Sonny or his family wrong. Brick has never steered Sonny, or that's right, or his family wrong. But I digress. I don't really pay attention to the conversation. Clemmy says, Tracy said, you don't have to live with it. Oh, that's right. You don't have to live with it. You're right. Thank you, Clemmy. Tracy felt like the Grinch. She realized she has a heart. Ron says, I love how Anna flipped the script by uh, getting her old job back. Now he can't stop her from investigating. This is his district, and now the FBI can share their information. Well, this is her district, really. Eduardo says, it was Jason all along. First Monday of March, Jason returns. Excellent debut. Totally made over man. Linda says, I agree, but we shall see. Yolanda says, I can't imagine um, made any other way. I can't imagine made any other way. I don't know what that means. As you say, we shall see. And then Susan says, I watched Wednesday's episode. There was a character who showed up at the cemetery uh, that looked like Claudia Zakara. Really? I didn't see that. Even though her character died in 2009, about the time Jocelyn was born, the gal looked like Claudia. I didn't see that. Maybe it was her as a spirit. Um, no one even acknowledged her there. I didn't see that. You know what? I'm gonna have to go back because Christina walked in as Jocelyn was putting the flower on the grave. Christina came in and she was wearing a black trench coat. Is that who you're talking about? Rewatch that, Susan. I think you're talking about Christina. I I read history about Claudia to refresh my memory. Maybe she was the surprise visitor to Spencer at Esme's. No, it's Christina. They just had them. They just had them at his gravesite, a marble with a marble stone, and it just said, and just a stand with Esme's name on it. How do you have a burial when you don't have the bodies to bury. I know. But you know what? Sometimes people do buy plots to put a headstone to signify. Remember when they thought Sonny was dead? His plot was there. Morgan's is there. And there's nobody in that in there either. How da, 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 because they're still missing. Guess who else showed up? A guard with, yep, Heather Weber. That was interesting. All right, everybody, that is it for Comment Corner, Comment Corner. I will be back tomorrow night with another episode or daily recap of General Hospital.